Good morning, Wendy Antonucci here, and I'm here today with a new layout using Bella Blvd's Island Escape, one of their newest collections. And this is the second video in this series from blah to fabulous. And I'm going to take you through a journey so that you can take a layout that might have been in your first book to a layout that is eye-catching, textured, and just a real delight to look at. So to begin my layout, I knew I wanted to use the striped border, this yellow, almost like a beachy sandy look, and I wanted these pictures and this sentiment, the beach is always a great idea. I've already matted these down on some pattern paper from the collection, and I am adding in quite a few little small pictures. This is something different for me, but I really wanted to get the full story of our beach life. After deciding where I wanted my pictures and where I wanted the basis of my layout, or what I might call my block, my photo block, from there I went to my title, which was Sun, Sea, and Surf. These are chipboard pieces, and they just caught my eye, and they really directed the direction of my layout. So I'm going to go ahead and get those down. I know that I need to carry my title almost down the center of my layout to help your eyes come down and follow all the way through, because otherwise it is a tricky layout for your eyes to catch all the pieces of it. So right now you have a layout that has already come up the next step. You went from just pictures on a white background, which was okay. It was a great layout, but it was a little bit blah. By adding in your title and a few little die cut pieces as I've added here, you've already taken your layout to the next level. It is already has some texture, has some more color, and has some more direction in your page, thus capturing your attention and making this a layout that has become already fabulous. In this layout, I have added in a little sticker called Beach Life. It just further told my story, and because it was beside the other little picture, I felt I could get away with this. And I have the die cuts, the flowers, bringing your eyes down also. The next thing I discovered was this Memories acrylic piece, which is one of the newer acrylic pieces that Bella has just come out with. And I wanted to put that in there because it seemed like my layout was almost floating. There wasn't enough pieces grounding it to the page. By putting the memories on the bottom and then building the wave pieces around it, it is now feeling like it is locked into the page. It's not floating anymore. It just feels like it's steady and you're not getting seasick on this layout. After my title, I always go and look at die cuts and stickers because these are both flat and they add great touches. For a minute there, you saw the epoxy stickers. They are just tiny little pieces. I chose colors in aqua and green to further the sea feel and the colors of the sea. And I felt like they gave it almost a bubble-like feel to the page. Something light, not too heavy, but added interest and texture to the page. From there, I have this stamp set, which I will link in the comments below, along with this collection and where you can purchase it. This stamp set wasn't made to go with this collection, but this fern-like stamp, it looked perfectly just like a palm tree. So I am adding those in. I began by adding in a darker color green. It's actually from Ranger. It's called Letter It, I believe. And it stays put and it does not move once you put it down, which I love because that way it doesn't get all over my hands. Once I put down the main green to catch your eye and bring your eye around, I began doing what would be called a ghosting technique, where you actually stamp once and then you stamp again. And you can see I'm just going to stamp on just a scrap piece of paper. And then when I stamp again, it has a lighter ghosting effect. I went through and added this to the edges of the page to kind of make my page seem like it was all integrated and it wasn't separate pieces. That way it all flowed together and there was no disconnect. Also, by stamping, there aren't any heavy pieces. It's nothing that's going to add weight to your layout, but yet it adds more texture, more interest, and again, takes your layout from blah to fabulous. So now you have pictures, you have a title, you have some design and frilly elements. The one last thing that will take your layout from blah to fabulous is if you add your story. Some people like to use their typewriter or their computer. I personally like to use my handwriting as it tells more about me, and I can add in whatever I feel like in whatever sizes there are or space. By adding my journaling at the end, I'm just squeezing it in a space. It is helping to balance out the layout because there was kind of like an empty spot there, and by stamping I sing because I am free above it, it needed a little something underneath. I'm using the Illustrated Faith pen. It works amazingly well on the American cardstock. It's not the smooth one, it's the texture cardstock. It writes over those bumps. There's good ink flow. It never gets caught up. So I really love these pens. I believe I'm using the 0.25 tip here. I do use the 0.65 for heavier things or lines and such. And so we have taken our layout from blah to fabulous. We started with pictures. We added in a title. We added in some elements of design. And we've created a layout that pulls you in a lot of different texture.